Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. John Morris and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems here. Today we are excited to have our friend and guest, Dr. Joe Moleski, on with us. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Happy to be on the show today.
I know we're really excited about some events and some things that we have coming up. Deb, why don't you just open us up and let's just jump right into a little bit of what that looks like, and then we'll spend some time in the back end of today's show talking about some of the science and why we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. I couldn't be happier. This is just blessing today to even be able to discuss this, but just the potential future of integrity branching into a health system, basically. So Integrity Health Systems, and we'd like to partner that with Dr. Joe and bringing a functional medicine, preventative care, regenerative medicine approach. And that is something that I've needed partnership with for years, just to be able to truly help my clients to the greatest detail possible. You know, with health coaching and working with folks on their nutrition, you can uncover and unlock and really unleash so many things that are starting to pop up on a person's body, because you can actually start to truly see what's starting to happen because you are peeling some layers off by cleaning up the food. Now we have an approach to where we can ultimately work with Dr. Joe and have their their diabetes looked into a greater detail, have their thyroid function looked at properly with all the correct blood work, someone that can help to work to repair the gut, someone that can help with all these extra types of treatments necessary that are not in the typical protocol. And that is just literally what I've been praying for years. So Dr. Joe, we are so happy to have you here, and also very happy just to have you as part of integrity and the future of integrity, for sure.
I mean, definitely, I believe in your guys' mission. Debbie has been a health coach for my wife, Jacqueline, and she's definitely changed early on, even 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. She's changed our way of thinking at the house when it comes to what we're putting in our bodies, from an inflammation standpoint, from just getting down to the nitty gritty of real food and clean food. And so I first want to say thank you for that. It's definitely been a big help. And I'm very excited to be a part of this. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, is catching people 10 years prior. So what I mean by that is, so I'm a hospitalist. I see a lot of sick folks in the hospital, and there's always this surprise. Oh, surprise, you got a heart attack. Surprise, there's a stroke. Surprise. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think with Integrity Health Systems, this new branch that we're really excited about is preventing disease, and that way our patients don't get that surprise.
Absolutely.
And so that really gets me up in the morning is, hey, maybe I met you 10 years prior, so I don't have to see you in the hospital with a heart attack or stroke or cancer or a limb amputation. And I think partnering with Debbie and her team is something you can really get behind. I mean, they already have the health coaching. They already have a platform to where that I truly believe in, and just marry that with the medical end, we're really going to change lives.
Absolutely.
I think what's amazing, what I love about what we're doing is, I required what you're talking about. I call them red alerts. I required a heart attack to get healthy. Yep. And so I always tell people that come in to see us, I'm like, don't require the red alert. Like, by then, it can almost be too late. It's like you can only reverse so much. And so what's neat is for us, there's so many things that we'll do, and then we need the next level. We need the stuff that you do. And so we'll send our clients out, and sometimes they're met with people who, they may go to their primary, they may go to their doctor, and they don't feel the same way as we do. They don't believe what we do. And I have to imagine from your perspective, you're probably used to dealing with people that come in and you're trying to treat them and help them be well, but then their food and exercise is so off the wall and up and down and crazy. It's like, how do you even get a baseline to work with them at? You know, and that's what I love what Debbie does is she uses the food, the health side of the food, to put someone at a baseline. And once they've achieved that baseline, it's like, okay, now what do we need to do from here? You know, what can Dr. Joe implement to help these people? You kind of
peel off those acute responses that I like to talk about all the time that the body's having, to where now you can actually see someone for what is actually going on instead of the histamine response that's coming from all of these garbage foods.
Removal of controllable layers.
Hyper blood sugar issues because they're just having an excess of carbohydrates and the wrong types of carbohydrates and not the right foods paired with those carbohydrates. You know, hormonal issues because they're, you know, bringing in foods that are packed full of hormones, or, you know, or even just simply brain issues, neurotransmitter issues, because they're dealing with ingredients in their food that's just poisoning them. And so what I've found that in the past when I've worked with doctors is I can kind of help the client get to a place to where all of those layers have been pulled off, to where now you can go in and say, oh, okay, what is this client's viral load? Are they dealing with mono, Epstein-Barr virus? Is this something like that? Or is it something like that, but is it also the fact that they're now dealing with being on the verge of having diabetes because, you know, they've been consuming too much sugar for how many years, you know, or is it just simply that, you know, it's too much inflammation and now there's been some damage and we have to go in and we actually have to repair, we have to do some detoxification, you know, that sort of thing. I would say probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest things that I encounter when I'm working with folks right off the bat is just sugar and just over consuming on sugar and all of the, you know, unfortunate aspects that come along with over consuming on sugar. And so the first topic I want to talk about is sugar. They are so used to me talking about sugar, Dr. Joe. So I'm like, hey, we have Joe here to help us, right?
They're used to me talking about it too, because I'm like, look, if you eat Sour Patch Kids, you have to eat cheese as well, so the fat protects the fall of the insulin spike. You know, like so it's like that's what I'm talking about.
But the reality is that John has had just as much of an issue overcoming sugar as anybody else.
And not only have I had as much of an issue, but I've had to overcome multiple tiers of things. Dr. Joe and I were talking about this the last time we got together, but I'm a recovered alcoholic. You know, it's like I've been the guy who cannot stop drinking alcohol, and I've given that up. I've been the guy who has popped painkillers because I walk around with a 7 to 10 pain in my back from breaking my spine. I've given that up. I still fall back to sugar. You know, once every month, 2 months, something like that. It's like I gotta go get it. It's like that's the only thing I can't break 100%. It's just crazy.
Difficult, right?
And I want to say a few things about sugar. So, you know, you go into the grocery store and you have a lot of health food aisles, or you have an aisle that tells you need to do this, or you're online and you have, you know, a diet that says you're supposed to do this. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of food marketing that's confusing.
Right.
And what happens is you have these food companies that they take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
And so they have partnerships with whomever, and they make it to where it does make it confusing. So I feel like at Integrity and Integrity Health Systems, we want to take that confusion out of it. We want you to get with a health coach. We want you to get with a trainer. We want you to get with a doctor and kind of uncover that and peel away those layers of the onion. And that way, when you go into the grocery store, you're not like confused.
Absolutely.
And you're not guessing off a Google search. You're our patient, and we're going to make sure that you have success.
That's right.
So
Absolutely.
I think, and the other thing I'm going to say is, you have known yourself for years, but you've never spoke to your body. Never. So your body has never spoke to you. Never. And one of the ways that you can start having that conversation is through blood glucose. Believe it or not, blood glucose is the key to a lot of these diseases that we have in the hospital system. So obesity, that's a big one, but it leads to hypertension, it leads to diabetes, insulin resistance, infertility with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So when I say your body's talking to you, that's how you can start the dialogue, and that's your microphone. The microphone is blood glucose. And one of the unique things that we do at Integrity Health Systems is we take that little item or that little variable and we make sure that our patients are educated. We start it with a continuous glucose monitor, and that way you're not guessing anymore. Hey, I thought this food was healthy for me. Well, actually, the continuous glucose monitor, it measures your blood sugar every minute.
Awesome.
And so that actually tells you, wait a minute, this shake or these nuts or this food, for some reason, it's not healthy for you.
Right.
And that is not something you read on Google. That's not something you pick up from the grocery store and you find a little health food book or whatever you find on, an infomercial. That's you, in real time.
And that's what we want to get into as we get ready to go to our next segment here. We're going to come back and we'll be talking a lot more about that in depth.
Yep.
Absolutely. And that, being able to monitor our clients' glucose at that level, I will be able to identify right away what foods and what combos of foods are not working, and we can change things rapidly. I mean, that's something that I can visibly see. So the entire health coaching practice changes significantly just with that one simple aspect, the continuous glucose monitoring. So for more information on what we're doing with Integrity Health Systems, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208, or you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Health Systems here again. Very excited to have Dr. Joe Moleski with us. Thanks again for joining us, sir.
Happy to be here.
We were talking about glucose monitoring, which is a huge part of Integrity Health Systems, what we're going to be doing moving forward. And Deb said something right before the break about how it just really helps to see the sugar. It really helps to see the spikes. And I'm going to tell you right now, I see my sugar. It's not invisible to me. I always see it right before it goes down. I know what's coming.
But what's unique, though, is that sometimes it can be healthy food, though.
Yeah, well, this is the point I want to make, too, though. Like Dr. Joe said is, all joking aside, like the body will try to have a conversation with you. And if you're not talking to your body, you can say, hey, but I'm not eating Sour Patch Kids. I'm not drinking soda. Like, I'm trying to eat apples. I'm trying to eat bananas. My apple and pear at the store even said gluten-free, which, is hysterical because like Dr. Joe said, it's like, why would that even be on there? There's not ever going to be gluten in that anyway. That's the marketing scheme, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like you think you're eating healthy. You're trying to eat healthy, and you don't even realize that these fruits or these things you're bringing in are spiking you.
Right. Or even an example is just what you're combining things with, and it may just be that you just don't realize the fact that, yes, I understand that you're having vegetables and I understand that you're having fruit, but maybe you just don't realize the load at which one of those vegetables has, the rate at which it converts to sugar. A continuous glucose monitor is going to be able to show us that. And just because it works well for your neighbor or for your husband or for your friend doesn't mean it's going to work the exact same way on your body because of the season you're in or where you're in or the damage that you already have or the sluggishness of your liver or the sluggishness of your immune system. All these things are going to have to be taken into consideration, and with this type of a program, I can see this. So when I'm working with people one-on-one on their nutrition, I can tell right away what's working and what's not working. And that's part of what you're going to offer is that continuous glucose monitoring.
Yeah, and taking a deep dive into into each client's health is something we're really passionate about.
Yeah.
I know that Debbie takes quite a bit of time with her clients and educating them on, nutritional habits, cooking, et cetera, but this is that customized approach to where we're going to customize your diet, your exercise plan, and we're going to take it to another level. And we're gonna see labs on a monthly basis change. We're gonna monitor you on a monthly basis to where you can actually see a real change. Maybe you're losing weight, but you want to see an actual change in your gut health. You want to see an actual change in your insulin resistance. You want to see an actual change in your lipid panel. You want to see an actual change that, hey, maybe you do have a history of diabetes and heart attack or stroke, but we're here at Integrity Health Systems, we want to reverse that. And so we are very passionate about it, and I really do feel like with the simple, basic continuous glucose monitoring, that's the first step you have to changing your future. So regardless of what you have a family history of, or you currently are dealing with any comorbidities, at Integrity Health Systems, we want to change that, and we want to take it to another level, to where we can start having that conversation with your body, having that education. My biggest thing with patients, I want you to be educated on your current condition. I don't want to just talk at you. I'm a physician. Sure, I went to med school. I know some things, don't get me wrong, but I want you to, this is a patient-doctor relationship here.
Right.
And Integrity Health Systems, I really, truly want that dialogue, and to where we're all, as a group, between the exercise, the fitness, the nutrition, and the medical aspect, is we're all working in synergy to get you on the right path to better health.
I've always felt like inflammation, I always tell my clients, the creation of inflammation comes from that initial blood sugar spike. You wake up and you have your donut, you have your bagel that is a grand total of 50 starchy carbohydrates,
right.
And then you go ahead and have a banana with the bagel, and then you have some sugar in your coffee, and it's almost like someone sticks a gun in your mouth and they shoot the gun off, and there's a bullet bouncing around inside you, and it's bruising you on the inside, and that's where inflammation starts. It's just that inconsistency with the blood sugar. Now, I'd love to just kind of open the door to sort of what your opinion is on that, and how inflammation is created and how it relates to blood sugar, because I know next segment I really want to talk a little bit about fructose and insulin resistance, but you tell me your take on inflammation if you had to come up with just a quick scenario like I did. That's what I explain to my clients. That's why it's so important to me that they regulate blood sugar.
And I would agree with you. I mean, inflammation starts from blood glucose and elevation.
Right.
It really does. And I'm not, I'll say, not going to sugarcoat it.
Right,
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Hey, that's my line.
That was John's dad joke
that.
of the
I
day.
love
He's
that.
using that again.
Solid.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that, if you literally take all these comorbid conditions, heart disease, blood pressure issues, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, you look at rheumatoid arthritis, it's all literally stem back to one thing.
Right.
And it's elevated abnormal blood glucose coupled with insulin resistance.
And I think the key to that is a lot of people come to us for like weight loss, or they'll come to a gym or a fitness and are looking to lose weight or gain muscle. But what they don't realize is that is actually a side effect of everything you just said.
Correct.
The weight is actually just a portion of what's occurring because of the health irregularities. And if you control the overall health, those other items are going to change. If you only control those other items, if you only alter the weight loss, which you can do through a macro-based program, if you only alter muscle gain, which you can do through a macro-based program, how long is that going to be sustainable? You're going to get to a point where you don't feel well, disease is still developing, and eventually it's going to fall apart. You have to start at the root.
You can definitely still be on a macro-based diet and still be
You
very
can look
unhealthy.
great and feel like
Right,
garbage.
you can look great and feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think the big thing is I want people, as I said before regarding, you want your body, you want to start listening to your body.
Yeah.
That fatigue that you have, the insomnia that you have, you don't understand why you can't complete certain tasks, inattention, you're always sluggish. Maybe you just can't lose weight. These are all these little clues that your body's telling you, and you end up at a gym, like he just said. You're at a gym, and so we want to take that as, hey, you have all these little clinical indicators that something's going on, and we want to peel that back, and we literally want to fix each and every problem, and it starts with blood glucose.
Absolutely. And my program has always started with blood glucose. I just didn't have the doctor behind
next
me
level.
with the blood glucose monitor, and now it's just it's like a blessing, tremendous blessing for me. So at the end of the day, a 6-month nutrition program with me has always considered your blood sugar, and that's always been what I have started the program with, and just identifying that needed to be under control. Now we can take that to a completely different level with that 6-month nutrition program. in an effort to change so many other aspects of your health, we'll bring Dr. Joe and we'll involve him, and the two of us will couple together on that program. For more information on a nutrition program or a health program with Dr. Joe and myself, you can take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com, or you can give us a call at 636-299-2208.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for staying tuned. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Health Systems. Again, Dr. Joe Moleski in studio with us today. We're so excited to have him, so excited for our future, all the things that are coming. On the break, we were talking a little bit just about, we've been on the glucose monitoring and talking about what effect the blood sugar spikes have to the human body, but not just human bodies, but to the animal kingdom in general. So, Dr. Joe, why don't you talk about that stuff that's above my head?
Yep. So, I always like to start my consultations with a first education. Like, I want to get folks really in tune with their body, and then they can explain it to others. And it's just not, we're giving you pills, we're telling you a plan. Right. I want people to really, truly understand that's a big part of this. And so I like to relate it to something very simple in nature. So when a bear goes out and starts thinking about hibernation, there's the change in the season, the fruits, the berries, the raspberries, the blackberries, they're starting to get ripe. God has actually put in, fibrous material inside fruit, as well as fructose and glucose. So in nature, these are very vital for the triggering of an animal to start the hibernation process. Right. So that's different from, we got it on tap out at Quick Trip in a fountain. Right. So getting back into that is so a bear, when the season change, it's starting hibernation, it starts really starts foraging, and it starts seeking out high fructose items like blueberries, blackberries. That's what it does. So then once it starts eating some berries, that's where the switch happens. And so in your body, when you consume these bears are eating a lot of blackberries. We're not talking like 10 of them. They're eating numerous pounds a day. And that really puts a lot of glucose, a high glucose load, and fructose load. And so when fructose it literally hits the stomach, it goes down to a small portion of the stomach called the duodenum. And at the duodenum, you have your pancreas, and you have a connection to where you have certain enzymes that digest certain things, and then the liver is a really big, important organ that processes fructose. The reason I keep saying fructose is it triggers something in the bear. And so what it does is it triggers the bear actually in its brain to become a little bit more aggressive, and when it finds fructose, it triggers it to eat as much as possible. And you would think, well, why is that? Why can't it just have a little? Because if it does not have that response inside of its brain, it will not have enough fat to get through the winter.
Right.
So when you kind of think about that, you're like, whoa, we're animals too. Does that happen when we encounter sugar or we overconsume high fructose corn syrup?
Absolutely.
Does that change our, do we want to keep eating it?
Yes.
Of course we do.
Yes.
And we hibernate. I mean, how many people haven't went and ate that level of sugar or ice cream or cake, and then you take a nap? I mean, it just puts you right to sleep.
Oh, it just truly downregulates you for life. You know, it makes it to where you don't even feel like you can get up and go to work the next day. You don't really want to join anything. You're kind of just in this place where you just feel very sluggish, and you're not working at an optimal level because everything's just so foggy until you get your next spike, and then maybe you get a little bit more energy, but then on the coming down part of it, you're right back out of it again.
I love the explanation of the science too, because I feel like people the science is freeing. It allows people to not think something's wrong with them. Because what happens is we'll get people that come in like, well, I'm just a food addict. I'm screwed. I'm never going to be okay. I don't know why I buy a king-size pack of candy and literally shovel it into my face like there's something wrong with me.
And we're like, we know why.
We know why. It's okay. It's not okay that you're doing it. We want to correct it, but there's science behind what you're doing. It's not just because you're some weirdo that likes to shovel candy. There's literally something inside of you primally pulling at that, and it's interesting. You made a point too about hummingbirds and what they do on a daily basis. I thought that was great. It's kind of funny at church this past Sunday, our preacher even made a comment about how his grandson calls them honeybirds, which is pretty fitting, for what they do. But like you talked about how they go every day almost into a diabetic state, correct? And it's like, I think about that. I'm like, man, every time I get to these places where whether it's maybe I make it 6 months, maybe I make it 3 months, maybe I make it 1 month, and then I reset where I just stop at a gas station and grab 3 packs of candy. I mean, I don't even want to talk about how many milligrams of sugar it is that I'm diving into. It is like I can feel that primalness, and I feel like I put myself in a diabetic state. My energy regulation gets weird. There's almost a euphoria that occurs. Yes. I can sweat because of it. And then the crash from that is horrific. And then if you're someone like me who, I've got one psychiatrist that's told me I'm bipolar. We don't really own that. But if you're someone that does deal with chemistry issues in the brain from the traumatic brain injuries that I've accrued through my different careers, that kind of stuff is insane. Like you talked about irritation. My irritation levels when I eat candy, it's insane. I mean, I'm so irritable. I'm so mad. It's like it puts me into a fight or flight adrenalized state. I hear differently. I see differently. It's like I'm constantly ready for combat when there's nothing there.
Right.
Yeah, and this is definitely a topic that I want to get into in future broadcasts, but there's some really interesting things going on with controlling these glucose spikes and actually reversing some mood disorders.
Wow. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's some exciting studies that they're looking at schizophrenia, they're looking at bipolar, they're looking at depression, and so that's for another topic.
Yeah.
But yes, so when we say, this is a drug, fructose is a drug.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it definitely changes your your mental state.
And so when you think you're being healthy and you start your day with just a banana, it's like you don't even realize what that's doing to you.
Right? Or just, even beyond that, it's going to a place and getting something that's infused with fructose and you don't even realize it. So you're taking your fructose levels so much higher. It's like, you're getting almost like a liquid version of it. And so over time, what it ends up doing is it just creates insulin resistance. And the majority of the people that come in to see me, I don't care if they come in to lose weight or not. I mean, not everyone just comes to me to lose weight. In fact, probably only 50% of the people that come to me.
Not even that. I think people are starting to figure out.
They come to me to get healthy. They just want to be healthy. But at the end of the day, no matter what the circumstances, I would venture to say that 90% of the people that walk in my door are insulin resistant. So I manufacture a plan that is an anti-inflammatory plan that is low histamine, but the whole concept is for the first 3 weeks to really try to take a person and step them out of that. With food,
I think what I love,
best of my ability.
I think what I love about what you guys are doing in partnership is giving people something to physically look at in that regard. And what I mean by that is everybody knows how to step on a scale. Everybody knows how to wrap a tape measure around a bicep or around their belly button, and take some form of measurement. The issue is, how do you measure how healthy you're getting? You should be able to measure it by how you feel, but you feel the way you feel 24/7. So you might not realize today how much better you feel than you did last year. And so this gives you a way to actually look at that data and say, wow, I am actually in a better place here than I was before. And the reason that's important is, like, I know at one point, Deb, you had a client that came to you. She was a runner. She wanted to be able to run even better. And it ended up that this person decided she no longer wanted to do the program. She wasn't happy about it because she was just like, I was put on this diet and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. The problem was this person, they didn't have weight to lose. They were just trying to enhance their running. Debbie was putting her in a position to be healthier where she was actually potentially going to blow what she used to do away. But there's going to be a dip as you kind of get away from that same thing your body's been doing. You might not, there's going to be a lull before you get to the greatness that's on the other side of that. And if you can't track that, If they're like, well, my weight's not changing, I look the same in the mirror, and in fact, my running actually feels like it's going down a little bit, and you don't see that your blood sugar spikes are better regulated, your gut is getting healthier, and you're about to put yourself in a position to go to the next level with what you came here for, it's easy to give up on that. And you guys are giving a way to track that 24/7.
And one of the things that I love is not just the continuous glucose monitoring, but the monitoring that we can do on a monthly basis from a lab standpoint.
Yes.
The one thing I'll let you know is I'm a pretty thin guy. I feel like I'm pretty healthy. I slapped a continuous glucose monitor on me. My fasting blood sugar was 95.
Wow.
So 100 is pre-diabetes.
Wow.
I have diabetes that runs in both sides of my family. And I'm a doctor. And so imagine if I just continue to eat unhealthy,
you weren't healthy
and whatnot. And I was, I've lost like 20 pounds just being on the continuous glucose monitor, simply not restricting myself, but being more educated. Hey, I ate that spiked my blood sugar. And
yes.
I don't want to do that anymore. I've been eating that for, I guess, the last 15 years. I thought it was healthy. It's not. And so I've actually changed my fasting blood sugar into the 75 range.
Nice. And
I feel so much more energized. I can get stuff done. I don't have to drink coffee. So that's that little insight that I want, I want people to come to Integrity Health Systems and just expect that we are going to change every single aspect of how they feel, from their energy to their sleep to just, it could be weight loss, but just there's going to be so many little things that we're going to be able to change for you. And it just goes back to education and listening to your body. And the last bit I want to talk about is the monthly labs. So you could say, oh, I'm healthy. Yeah, I got an A1C test, which was fine. A1C checks your average blood glucose over a 3-month span. Or even maybe you've checked your blood glucose at a recent doctor's appointment. Oh yeah, he did a lab, he checked it. Well, I'm going to tell you something. You will not know, say you're a little bit overweight, you're not going to know that surprise if you actually develop diabetes until the day when that blood glucose is elevated above normal, and then you're started on a medicine called metformin, and then you're started on insulin. So what I'm trying to get at is these monthly labs, there's one that's really key. It's called fasting insulin. And you could have a normal A1C, normal blood sugar, but that fasting insulin can show, are you nearing a point where your insulin resistance is getting so high that your pancreas cells are going to start shutting down, and then all of a sudden you're going to get that surprise. Whoa, I have diabetes now. So at Integrity Health Systems, we're going to track that and make sure that with the diet that Debbie provides and the meal plans and the cookbooks and everything that she does, we're going to make sure that we actually see real change, not only with the glucose monitors, but with your diet and the fasting blood glucose and fasting insulin levels.
Yeah,
so
I think
this
that
is
fasting insulin is the catalyst to some serious change.
What's important too is the two of you working together. You're going to be able to put people in a position where they understand things that they might be spinning their wheels on. And I'll give you an example of that. I eat pear and apple right now. It's one of my snacks. I eat pear or apple with these 2 beef sticks, these chomp sticks. If I eat the fruit before the chomps, instant insulin spike for me, just for my body. I get a headache and I get light sensitivity like a migraine. If I eat the chomps first and then I eat the fruit, I don't get that same insulin spike. Now, I haven't checked that on a glucose monitor, but that's something that you guys would see. You're going to see that for each individual person, different per person, what they need to do on those spikes.
And then I may not even be able to eat the pear or the apple.
Correct.
Because if I did, I might look like I'm 2 months pregnant because my stomach would get just ginormous, and I just would feel super tired and sluggish if I ate the pear and the apple. So it's really getting to the nitty-gritty of all these details. It's understanding that there really isn't any one particular protocol that suits in everyone. I mean, there just isn't. It's individualized care, which is how my 6-month nutrition program has always been. But now I have the fortunate opportunity to be able to partner that with a doctor so we can get even more specific with you.
Yes.
For more information on that program, please take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Health Systems here with our good friend and partner, Dr. Joe Moleski, talking about stuff that we need about another 20-hour show for. But we're going to try to give you as much as we can in the last segment here. We were kind of talking on break about a topic we were in a couple segments ago with animals and the bears and just the way they work and the switch from their insulin spikes, and they're controlling it through the fructose. So, Dr. Joe, why don't you give us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the other half of the hibernation switch, or how the bears in the wild start preparing for hibernation, it's triggered through that fructose that they're getting from all that fruit that they're consuming. And then once they're putting on weight and whatnot, they're ready to go into their den and camp out for a couple months. There's a change that happens. So metabolic syndrome is something that a lot of Americans suffer from. You get central obesity, you're going to get hypertension, you're going to get abnormal cholesterol levels, and you're going to get insulin resistance. And so there's a reason for all this from in nature. Right. So the bear, it's sleeping in its den. It's already packed on a lot of weight. And so what else does it need to survive throughout the winter? Well, two things that the bear needs is it needs constant blood glucose levels and blood pressure to its brain and its kidneys. In humans, that's the same thing. So what it does is its body essentially retains salt and is able to increase its blood pressure in order to maintain cerebral perfusion to where its blood pressure doesn't drop enough to where it ends up, becoming brain dead or dying while it's sleeping. So it increases the blood pressure. And then what it does is it causes a lot of insulin resistance. And you'd think, all right, well, why is that? Well, the reason is because think about it. If it's got to lay in this den for multiple months and not eat anything, it's got to have higher blood sugars. It's got to. And it also slows down its metabolic rate. So it doesn't want to chew up its fat stores real quick. It wants the blood glucose to stay a little bit higher. It wants to retain salt because the blood pressure. So when you start thinking about, whoa, fructose triggered this bear into this hibernation state, that has me a little concerned.
Right.
Because if I can get the same amount of load of fructose and glucose from a 7-Eleven, what would that cause it? Would those cascade of events, maybe that would do it to me, and it would. So it causes the elevated blood pressure. It causes you to feel fatigued. It lowers your metabolic rate. And there's another thing that it does. It actually inhibits leptin, which leptin is a hormone that regulates your satiety. So you know how full you are. So what happens is when the bear's foraging, it just keeps eating, even past where its stomach, it stretches. It can even eat past that. So then we as Americans, we're literally fed high doses of sugar, even in your ketchup. Look at Heinz ketchup, not the organic, but just regular ketchup. And that has fructose in it. It has sugar. So when you think about it, whoa, it's not our faults that we're this way. We have 1.4 million Americans diagnosed with diabetes every year. We see our friends and family members dying of strokes, heart attacks, getting these wake up calls at the doctor's office that you got to start these medicines. So you can see the passion in my voice because there's a lot of things that we're told and we're just not educated on. And I truly believe with Debbie and partnering with her, she is definitely somebody that will take you through those steps to get you on the right track, along with this, physician-guided approach to where we can get you to your best health possible. And I think every American deserves it. You don't need to be that statistic 1.4 million. Right. Allow Integrity Health Systems to change your life.
I think what I love is you're saying, don't require that wake-up call or that red alert. Don't require that thing to occur to you at the hospital. And you talk about the building of insulin resistance. And one thing I hear a lot is, oh, well, you're just a kid, or they're just a kid, or they're still young, or, they don't have to worry about it yet. But it's like, that's when the build's happening, right? I mean, this starts from childhood. You could be creating this situation. And it's so hard because, like, even with our own daughter, it's like my parents, for instance, they are lovely people, and they just want to take care of my daughter when she's with them, but they want to buy her a quote unquote treat. And it's like you have to explain, like they just don't know. They've never been educated on the fact that that treat is actually working toward a build of insulin resistance, which could create future disease. And we just know so much. It's like, I just can't let you do that. Like I can't allow that to contribute to that. And that's what's happening with these adults is bam, it's hitting them.
I think over the years of doing nutrition, what has happened is I have really become a voice where people either love me or they hate me, because at the end of the day, I'm extremely passionate about the details.
And they don't want to break that cycle.
Right. And recognizing that I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you, listen, part of what you're consuming, it's just spiking your blood sugar. You know, you're truly never going to be able to regulate those hormones. You're really never going to be able to calm down your brain and ever get off that anxiety medication if you don't start at this foundation. If the foundation isn't built from your blood sugar, none of the other items, all of this other stuff you're doing is just Band-Aids.
Well, it's just like the people you tell me, it's like you'll get someone who they'll say, I will do everything you tell me to do. I will eat exactly what you tell me to eat. I will not differ. I will not have something. I will not order pizza, but I have to have my 2 glasses of red wine every night. This is what we're talking about. Like, that's exactly what you have to avoid. You're better off once every 6 months getting hammered on your wine than doing it every day. It's like, don't continue to spike yourself. Like that's legitimately what you have to stop doing to achieve the health you're looking for.
Yeah, I think just being able to design a formula to where, number one, it's coming from more than just me, will be fantastic. So I love having you on the show, just so you can express, obviously, things that I've been speaking about for years, but just helping people to understand this is really the epidemic here, truly. The inflammation that you're taking an anti-inflammatory for, the issues that you're having with your gut where you can't get rid of the bloating. I mean, down to your thyroid, down to your hormone levels being out of balance, your brain being out of balance. All of it starts at this foundation and of controlling your insulin. And that's why I love this partnership, because I really think we can make some significant changes in people.
Treating patients in the hospital with COVID, I'm sure all of us have had family members affected or friends. And one of the things that I like to say is this fructose or glucose or sugar epidemic, this kills you over not a couple weeks, it kills you over a couple years.
Right.
And like you were saying with your daughter, we treat like an act of kindness, love with sweets, but that's actually a drug.
Right.
And it's okay because we're giving them a treat. But no, that's actually a drug.
Right.
And dialing it back to the real raw basics, we're animals. And when you have that type of response, it triggers a cascade of your thinking, your ability to wake up in the morning, your ability to make wise choices, and then it distills all the way down to, obesity, and then even high blood pressure. And these things can be simply reversed with diet and just simple education. And I think a lot of us would appreciate that level of education to where, I've struggled this my whole life. I've never been able to figure it out. Well, let us figure it out for you, and let's walk together. Let's hold your hand, because that's what me and Debbie and the whole team at Integrity Health Systems, we're passionate about it. We don't want you to feel like you're alone. And I really do think this is going to be an exciting journey for our clients to take with us, and we're going to change lives. I truly believe that.
Oh, I'm so thankful for it, and God bless this partnership, and God bless any journey that, we look at each person as a divine appointment. Anyone that walks in our door, we know that they will be blessed by God in doing so, and we just pray to God for the wisdom with each person to be able to know exactly what we need to do to help them in the manner that He would have us to do it. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself, or to be able to partner with Dr. Joe to get that continuous glucose monitoring, to get that fasting insulin, to take a look at any gut issues that you may be dealing with. Maybe you're dealing with PCOS, maybe you're dealing with a thyroid disorder, maybe it's all of it. Maybe it's the high blood pressure, maybe it's everything. Maybe you just need someone to get in there. But now you're not only just going to the doctor to get that information, you're also coming to me, and you're going to know exactly what to eat. You're going to know exactly what to buy from the grocery store. The meal plan will be wrote out for you. This is something that is going to be extensive, and you will have no questions about, am I doing this right? Because we'll be following along with you for the next 6 months. For more information on that program, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or you can give us a call at 636-299-2208. We are so thankful to have you on, Dr. Joe, and we're so looking forward to this opportunity for our future. And we pray all of you listening will be blessed by this information. God bless you. Hi, my name is Debbie. I'm a mom, nutrition coach, and my husband and I own a gym. I'm also a baker. I bake healthy cookies, brownies, and muffins that are high in protein and low in sugar. And yes, they are gluten-free and dairy-free. Our daughter Sophie is our greatest inspiration, so we decided to name all of our baked goods after her. The idea for Sophie's cookies, brownies, and muffins came out of a real need to provide our daughter with a healthy snack. These healthy snacks make her more alert, balanced, and overall more joyful. We know that our baked goods are a better way to snack, and we want everyone to experience it. If you like snacking, then you will love our baked goods. Sophie's cookies, brownies, and muffins are for all ages. We don't want anyone to miss out on the benefits of our delicious and nutritious snacks. These are going fast. Order your very own Sophie's cookies, muffins, and brownies today.